And now another episode of the J&J Talk. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the J&J Talk Show here on September 10th, October 10th, 2021. I apologize. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon here where we're at, and it's unfortunate we got some unbreaking news that my partner Justin has not been able to show up here this afternoon. He's kind of feeling under the weather, so we hope he makes a speedy recovery. But nonetheless, to welcome back our friend Trey. Trey, how
Hey,
you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thank you for joining us here, filling in for Justin. Like I said, he's been under the weather the last couple of days, so he's gonna go home, take care of a couple of things, get better, and we should hopefully see him back next week on another episode of the J&J Talk Show. Another week of sports recap here today. I gotta really bring up. Gosh, what about the Bengals and Packers game?
I
Just
knew you were
wanted to
going to do
know.
that.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. No team, neither one of the teams deserved to win their game today when it came down to the Packers and Bengals game. They were missing field goals left and right. Gosh, it was a
Five
good,
field goals.
entertaining game. 5 consecutive field goals from both teams. A entertaining game, though, nonetheless to say, though, right? It was fun to
Very
watch.
right. It was very
Uh,
fun.
I loved it. It was very exciting. You knew how much, talking going into this game. We knew how important this game was for Cincinnati. We knew how important this game was for Green Bay. You know what I saw, though? It was interesting because I saw something out of the game is that I saw the fight that Cincinnati has. And so,
Mm-hmm.
although they lost by 3 points, which they've had multiple chances to win. I mean, multiple field goal opportunities throughout the game in the post extra, overtime status, but they should have won the game by all means. And I think the favor goes in. You got to give Green Bay credit where credit is due at. Um, and picking up that victory today, but it was a very good game though.
I'm not mad, even though I should be, but I'm not. We go on
You
to
know,
the
there's a
next game.
you know what? It was a well fought battle game, and we talked about this earlier. How the key importance is to you know win the games that are necessary and put up the battles where it's needed. And this is a game where it was the battle game. You had all your top guys in the game for Cincinnati, and you came this close to beating one of the better NFC teams in the
Right.
Packers. And I'm thankful that first of all, 5 weeks of Cincinnati, and everyone's still healthy, which is something to talk about. And it's something that shouldn't be overpassed. You also have facing a Packers team who's gotten, is now back into the mix of things and ready to play some football. So the Bengals really held their end of the game. It was a very well game. And it looks for me, it looks exciting to see the Bengals down the road.
I mean, very, very close to injuring Joe Burrow too in that game.
Yeah, he got beat up a few times, couple very big hits. But overall, that offensive line did protect him for the most
Yes.
part. It was also great to see some consistency coming out of Mixon out of the backfield. So I
Right.
love watching that as well. So I mean, overall, it was a good game for Cincinnati. Unfortunately, they couldn't pick up the victory, but you know what? Better luck next week, right?
Yep, we got Detroit next week, so
Oh, I
I'm
mean, there
hoping
you
for a
go. Should be
win.
hopefully walk through the park from that one. I mean, Detroit just lost. Anyways, one thing while we're talking about Cincinnati, we talked about this a little bit off the air yesterday, but I wanted to come to you and talk about this. Being a Cincinnati fan, you are. It has to feel good that just the Cincinnati area is playing such well so, really well in their individual categories of sports: football, baseball, basketball. I was listening to a broadcast show yesterday afternoon, and they made sense when they talked about how much it was necessary to start bringing sports and how much sports impacts the community of Cincinnati, right, Northern Kentucky, and to see that happen, with the Reds this year, right? They were in the conversations to baseball, you know, and postseason, contingencies up until the end of, September, which was something you haven't heard of in the last 5 years. We talk about the Bengals and how this is the first time in the last 7 years I think fans could actually get excited. This is a fresh look at a new era of Cincinnati Bengals football, right?
You're right.
So within baseball, football, NCAA, we talked about this yesterday. For the first time, I overheard somebody say that Cincinnati college football is never played on Fridays because they will never get fans to go to the game. Right? Fridays in Cincinnati or in Northern Kentucky belongs to high school football.
Right.
Cincinnati plays Temple on Friday, and there's hardly anybody at high school football games because Cincinnati is playing so well.
Right. It's a very, very good time to be a Cincinnati fan.
Well, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. UK just is playing extremely well as well. So, it's just overall in the in the atmosphere. It's the vibe is there. Hopefully, it continues right into NCAA basketball this season. It is like you said, it is a good time to be in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, be a sports fan. They gotta. You think about being a sports fan in Cincinnati. This is what Cincinnati has to offer. What else is going on in Cincinnati or in Northern Kentucky that is attractive? Like, if you think about out in the West Coast, you think about the Chargers, you think about the Rams and the Dodgers. Okay, you got that, but you got Disneyland. You also got the beaches. You got the boardwalks and the piers, and you got Legoland and Knott's Berry Farm. There's so many other amusement parks to hit up that's local nearby. Now, if you come out here, yeah, you got Kings Island, you got the zoo. But what else do you really have to look for other than you got the fine weather out there in San Diego and California? Out here, you don't get none of that. So sports is really heavily built upon here in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area.
Right.
So, but we got a lot to talk about here today. We're gonna do our normal stuff. So I appreciate you tuning on. I understand that know a little bit ins and outs about other things that's gone on over the weekend, but I'm gonna kind of just briefly recap everyone. Before we get into our main topic, and that is which is going to be two topics. We have the WWE draft, the final overall thoughts on that, right? Which, what do we like? What do we don't like about that? And then coming up here in less than 2 weeks is the crown jewel on for WWE in Saudi Arabia. So we'll cover those two. But before we talk about that, I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of the highlights, but I mentioned to you Tyson Fury versus Wilder Part 3. Okay,
I did.
Was a big epic one.
What a knockout!
What a knockout! What 11 rounds? You know what? All three matches lived up to its potential, and we haven't seen something as great as this, as a build-up as this, in my belief, since the Pacquiao and Mayweather fight. I may be wrong, but that's just the comparison on level-wise on these two, athletes. Well,
I think there was 5 knockdowns.
So yeah, from my understanding, Fury was knocked down 2 times in the 4th round. He was almost looking out of it, but that's what's so great about these guys. I give much respect for both of them. Fury's been in the business for such a long time, and he's been, he still remains undefeated, right? Wilder's definitely put up a huge fight to him. I think one of his toughest opponents to go 3 times in 5, 6 years. I mean, a lot of money's put into this. But I mean, I'm not necessarily a huge boxing fan. But whenever you have these big type matchups happening, you have to be able to acknowledge them and appreciate them a little bit more. Um, so we have Fury beating Wilder in a TKO in the 11th round. So what's next for Wilder?
I would like to see him fight Logan Paul. Teach him a lesson.
Celebrity matchup right there. I, you like see Wilder face or Logan Paul or Fury face Logan Paul?
Fury face Logan Paul. And I would like to see someone big face and shut up Jake Paul.
What about the Paul family going in, or the Paul brothers, right, going into UFC?
UFC, to talk about going to UFC now?
No, not necessarily. But would you like to see them in a future bout go into a UFC fight? I mean, what about Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor?
Conor McGregor's a little skinny toothpick.
Hey,
I think
right.
he would benefit going against Jake Paul.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. My point is that one of the Pauls goes against Conor McGregor. Because it feels like the Paul, especially Logan Paul, has a tendency to running his mouth. He loves playing that heel character. I mean, and for me is that McGregor could sit there and talk the talk, but he could also walk the walk when it comes down to it, because all of his fights have been entertaining, none the least.
Mm-hmm.
And although Logan Paul and Jake Paul sit there and they build up these fights, they don't exceed to its expectations.
See, I would like to see. I know he's done Mayweather versus Jake Paul.
Okay. What about Pacquiao?
Pacquiao versus Logan Paul,
Or someone like that.
Yeah.
What's next for Wilder? So he loses. I mean, he talks a big game and he puts on a really good fight. He has definitely the reach advantage, and he's had himself a decent career. Now I know Wilder walks out, losing these fights, but these really build stamina for him, or these really built his career a little bit, because these are the fights that he's gonna be known for when it comes down to the end of his career, right? So what's next for him? Who does he go after? What is his next accomplishment or accolade in the boxing industry? Or should he be looking to hang up his boots? I don't think he should be hanging up his boots quite yet.
I mean, I don't really know much about boxing. I don't even know barely any boxers. But I would like to see him maybe go against one of the Paul brothers.
Yeah, so I think everything right now is the publicity scene, and the Paul family is obviously in that celebrity category. So here's the thing, Wilder and Fury, what they're heavyweight bout, contenders. To see to go against non-heavyweight contenders is unlikely. So if anyone, who's listening to this, knows anything about boxing down the road, what's next for these two guys, please leave us a comment down below. I would also like to take this time and also mention that you can check us out on YouTube at the J&J Talk Show, Facebook, the JJ Talk Show, and now on Spotify at the J&J Talk Show as well.
And follow us on TikTok.
And follow us on
to
TikTok
stay up to date on when there's going to be future episodes.
Yeah, that's a J&J Talk Show, correct?
Yep. On TikTok.
Trey does all of that with stuff on TikTok, and I know he does other great promotions. I was taking a look a little bit into college football this weekend. Just something that we bring up. Cincinnati beating Temple back on Friday. But through the list, I'm in. Ohio State clobbered Maryland yesterday.
UK win?
I'm going down the list. Ole Miss, number 17, Ole Miss beat number 13 Arkansas, 52-51. One of the games we talked about on Friday's episode or segment of what to know over the weekend. Ole Miss going 4-1 and sending Arkansas to 4-2. I still can't get over Clemson not being in the top 25. That's still impressive to me. Texas falls short to Oklahoma, 55-48. Okay? So I guess my thing is that Oklahoma is number 6 and Texas is number 21. To see a two completely side rankings here, right? But yet again, a close matchup like it was. Yet again, Oklahoma's going to remain undefeated, but at the same time, and Texas will probably drop down in the rankings here. Just kind of going over the list. Georgia beat Auburn. Number 2, Georgia beat number 18 Auburn, 34-10. Wisconsin beat Illinois, 24-0. Boise State beat number 10 BYU 26-17. And then here's another top game. The 3 and 4 rankings in NCAA football. Penn State falls short to Iowa 23-20. Probably the game of the day yesterday was those two teams. Notre Dame, Kentucky beat LSU 42-21. You got to remember what 4 years ago, right? It was just 4 years ago. A team like LSU was in your top 5, right? Yeah. They were up there with Alabama and up there with with Oklahoma. Michigan beat Nebraska. Nebraska was another team that was a ranked team, and they're not ranked. Alabama lost. Number 1 Alabama lost to a non-ranked Texas A&M.
Wow.
41-38.
Still close game.
Wow. Huh?
Still close game.
Close game, but how much? You're telling me that now Texas A&M has to be ranked. You're beating number 1 overall. It doesn't matter about how close it was. The fact that you beat them. You gave Alabama the first loss. Here's my question. How much will this impact Alabama in the rankings? 2, does Texas A&M deserve now to be ranked? I know they were ranked earlier this year, I believe. And then 3, does Georgia go ranking number 1? Because they're one of the fewest undefeated teams left in the league. San Diego State, number 25, San Diego State beat New Mexico 31-7. It was interesting because I was looking through Facebook the other day, this morning, matter of fact, and I was looking at the undefeated, San Diego State wins. I get those posts. They're one of 13 teams still left to be undefeated in this 2021 NCAA football season. So a really huge upset out of Alabama losing. We'll see how that impacts the ranking system. I know how crucial that ranking system is. Texas A&M hopefully gets ranked. I think Clemson had the bye week this week. But overall, definitely some big news coming out of NCAA football. We're talking about NCAA football. Let's head over to baseball here real quick. Game three of the ALDS is continuing right now. Today we got the Tampa Bay Rays over in Boston to face the Red Sox. They're currently in the top of the 5th inning. It is 3-2 Red Sox. Who do you got going? It's a tied series. Are you still going with the Rays?
I'm gonna go with Tampa. Yeah,
Tampa Bay. Well, it's a tie series. I mean, not yesterday, but Friday, the Red Sox clobbered. I was thinking it was like a 14-6. A 14-6 win back on Friday that the Red Sox had over Tampa Bay. And I was just like, going back and forth, having the day off, only getting one day off and having to battle back into it again. But that one's a good one. That's on the MLB Network, and then on FS1 later on tonight, 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is the Astros and the White Sox. And I think we chose the White Sox for this one, but they're down 0-2
Chicago.
on the division.
Oh,
They're down 0-2 headed home here. It's gonna be Garcia versus C's I can't pronounce his name. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not even gonna say it, so I apologize. So that's tonight, later on tonight. So another great. That's gonna be the same time, but Monday night football, Sunday night football. Listen, that's the series, right? The end of the series where if the Astros beat the White Sox, they could clinch, they can move on, right? So what,
mm,
are we gonna pay attention to that one, or are we watching Sunday night football tonight? Or if you're gonna be lucky like me, I'm gonna have two screens on and watch both games at the same time. Then you got coming into tomorrow. Let's just quickly preview
mm.
Milwaukee Brewers over in Atlanta. Atlanta, they're both tied, it looks like, in the playoff bracket. They're good, bro. Yep, they're both tied in the playoff bracket, 1-1 in piece. And then also the Giants and the Dodgers, which has been a thrilling series to watch already. But that is tied as well heading into LA tomorrow night.
I don't remember who I picked for this game.
Okay, let's do. Who do you want to pick in this game right here? Giants or Dodgers?
I believe I picked the Giants, and the other Justin picked Dodgers.
Okay.
That comes to mind now.
All right. What about Milwaukee and Atlanta?
I'm gonna go to Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Who
I
you
want
got?
Atlanta to win. I mean, since St. Louis is out, I want Atlanta to win. I really utterly feel that Milwaukee has a better opportunity because everyone's healthy. They have really a stronger bullpen, but that's my opinion. But Atlanta goes for that. So that's for baseball for you. We'll talk about that coming up on Tuesday as we reach again another postseason episode. Before we get into WWE, just a quick update. NFL going on, right? Second half of the games. The Chicago Bears are beating the Vegas Raiders 14-3 in the third quarter, just beginning. The Chargers are losing to the Browns 27-13.
No.
Halfway through. The Browns are beating the Chargers 27-13. I think I told you, right? Wait, hold on. Delete.
Delete.
I think I told you this. I mentioned this on the Thursday picks, right? That the Chargers lost to the Cowboys at home in the first week. Yeah, they had some impressive victories over Kansas City last week, but this is still much more. I think Browns coming in there getting the job done is definitely something that over the Chargers. I just don't know if the Chargers still have it. Cardinals currently shutting out the 49ers 10-0 at halftime. And then I think the game of the week, which I felt that the Packers and the Bengals were the game of the week, but it's the Cowboys and the Giants, which is at halftime 10-17. It surprises me how well the Cowboys are playing compared to how well the Giants are playing. There are two separate ballparks here, and yet again, it's such a close and big game. And I know that's that's like the relevance of the Yankees and Red Sox here, but I still thought that the Packers and the Bengals were game of the week here. But they're naming the Giants and the Cowboys game of the week. I guess America's greatest football team there. Falcons beat the Jets. Falcons beat the Jets 27-20. The Eagles beat the Panthers 21-18. The Patriots beat the Texans 25-22. Titans beat yet again the Jaguars, fall 0-5 in the first 5 weeks. So let me ask you this: so Jaguars go 0-5. Does Trevor Lawrence? What's the next step? Is he still the quarterback? Is it Trevor Lawrence or is it the defense of the Jaguars?
I think it's the defense.
But what do you do to fix it, though? You got to fix it sooner or later. How long?
What did the Bengals do?
Yeah, but the Bengals went out on the offseason. They picked up a whole bunch of people. They went free agent crazy.
Right.
And they started, I mean, but, the Jaguars had this eye on Trevor Lawrence for a while. This wasn't a one-day thing.
See,
I don't know.
he's when they played the Bengals, Trevor Lawrence was running. It's like he wasn't even the quarterback. He was the running
Running back.
back.
But you see, I mean, that's the thing. No one could get open. You don't have receivers to throw it to. And, I mean, and that's the other thing because, I mean, you got to remember that the AFC and the NFC is still so much divided, right? The AFC is a running franchise, running league. They will run on you day and night. I mean, that's how the AFC makes it to the playoffs is by establishing that running game. It doesn't. I mean, if Lawrence is trying to be like a Russell Wilson or like a Cam Newton, then he needs to go to the NFC. But yet again, he still needs to be able to have the arm to do it.
Right.
Right. But he needs to go to the NFC to a team that can give him the open space to run.
Hey, you're not gonna win a football game if your quarterback is running the whole time.
No, you might as well shoot. I mean, you might as well put Brian Hoyer out there. I don't know. I mean, 0-5. I mean, the thing is that now I see 0-5, and you know what I see out of this? I see a fallen, unsuccessful Trevor Lawrence that plays so well with Clemson. That's what I see, right? That's where I point fingers to. This becomes a biased opinion. And I mean, unless you're in the NFL, unless you're breaking down everything that's going on, unless you're following the Jacksonville Jaguars, then you are seeing, I'm picturing Trevor Lawrence is not playing to his potential, which is probably completely false.
Right.
Vikings beat the Lions 19-17. The Steelers beating the Broncos 27-19.
Dude, don't you mean Trashburg?
Well, you call it whatever you want. I call it how it is. Steelers beat the Broncos.
Trashburg.
What they always say about the Bumblebees, right? The Buccaneers destroyed the Dolphins. And the Saints surprisingly beat the Washington.
Wow.
Don't forget tonight you got the Bills and Chiefs, which is another one, and then Monday Night Football with the Colts and Ravens. 2 exciting games. And what a surprising win that the Rams had against the Seahawks. Were you excited? That was an exciting game.
I was more excited about the Bengals game.
Well, of course, but I mean the Rams. That was a Thursday Night Football game.
But I'm not too happy because I need the Browns to lose. So if the Browns win, Bengals are in third place, and we don't need that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you there. I mean, it's going to be a good division throughout the rest of the season for sure. You can't deny how. I mean, listen, Bengals still played a good game. You know that the promise. You know that the looks ahead coming up in week number 6 when they face the Lions.
Now we're getting our win back.
You're gonna have to just take that loss with a grain of salt there, rub some dirt in it, and get back out there next week and win. I mean, I was upset when the Rams lost to the Cardinals last week.
I wasn't upset.
I mean, listen though. I mean, okay, so who's the 2 teams they lost to? To the Bears and to the Packers. Right now they got to face the Lions, and now they got to face the Vikings.
In which case, both losses the Bengals should have won.
And I mean, listen, yeah, you're right. They both should have won, but now you gotta lose some games so you can learn. This still is a learning team in Cincinnati. This is still a team where they're learning for the commodity against each other. So there's still a lot left. I mean, listen, you still got to be positive that the season goes out well, because if they played well against Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, right? They need to pick up wins. They need to pick up the wins like they had back with Pick up the wins that they had with like they did with Minnesota. Pick up the wins that they did with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? If they could
Yeah.
go into Cleveland and go into Baltimore, at least split the series right there, right? Split the series and it's a win. And then focusing on those Lions, focusing on the Vikings, focusing on. Don't they play the Chargers later on this year? Don't they play the Raiders
Yes.
later on this year?
And we're
They
going to
play the
destroy them
Raiders in
Chargers.
Allegiant Stadium. Well, you never know exactly. But you see, you got to win the games that you can win.
Right.
It's like baseball, right? Picking up the series that like heading into the September postseason, they should have won games against Pittsburgh, right? The Reds should beating the Pirates in certain series that they didn't win. That could have gave them an opportunity to face the Dodgers in the wild card game, but it didn't happen. They lost. So
Right.
are the Bengals going to be like the Reds, or are the Bengals going to be the Bengals? And I mean, I think as long as they stay healthy, I mean, and it comes down. Okay, you got an extra game on the season, that's fine. But I want to come back in 5-6 weeks and we'll talk about how the Bengals are looking around Thanksgiving, because that's when it's going to start really counting.
Right.
So
hopefully we're still positive.
Oh, I think you will. I don't. I mean, listen. As long as I think that I think this division is going to go down to who makes the biggest mistakes. And like, listen, you got to win these easy games, because this game, we knew that this game wasn't going to be an easy game to win. Well, matter of fact, a lot of people called they were going to lose the game, but see, now you're picking these tough games that aren't easy to win. By winning, it's just a bonus. It's just a plus, right?
Right.
Compared to, okay, now if they would have lost against the Lions next week, yeah, let's talk about what's going on with the team. Let me stand corrected, because coming up next week they will officially face everyone out of the NFC North, because they would have faced the Vikings in week 1.
Right.
So that's my mistake.
I'm just worried. I'm just worried because now Jesse Bates is out, and he's one of our good defensive players.
Right, but I mean, that's everyone's still young and still developing. I don't know. Stay optimistic. I mean, when they go to Detroit, right? They go to Detroit next week. They go in. They handle their business, and then they go into and then they figure out things from there. Take it 1 week at a time. I mean, the Bengals can afford to go into Detroit and not have to have the top guys, all of the top guys, playing. I don't think Detroit is a difficult team to beat. And you could afford to have now. If Joe Burrow was out, or if Mixon was out, or if Chase was out, then that would be something big to worry about. But I mean, it's not a huge worry about. You get them out a week or two, you get them back in, you get them healthy. But I don't know. You just got to stay optimistic there.
It's kind of hard when it's the Bengals.
It is. You're right. Yes, because it's been said over and over again. But listen, this is the first. I consider this the first official year of the beginning of the new franchise.
Right.
Right. You got Burrow. You got Chase, who's hopefully to play for the team for another 10 years. You got all Mixon's in the mix of this. I mean, remember, Mixon came in late in the last franchise run with Bernard. Remember when Bernard was up top and Mixon was in the back, right? Adrian Green's out of the picture. Dunlap's out of the picture. I mean, everyone's new here. So yeah, I get it. It's tough because of the past. You got a new head coach. You got new players. You got the Cincinnati ways. You got Cincinnati Bengals football being played. Instead of having everything all mixed, you have things starting to mesh together, which you like.
And we're just so used to losing. It's kind of hard to trust the Bengals.
But see, you're so used to losing you're so used to losing under Marvin Lewis. You're so used to losing under Carlos Dunlap and AJ Green and Andy Dalton, and Giovanni Bernard. You're so used to losing against that old franchise. This is a new franchise. That's why I say you got to stay positive and optimistic about this season. I'm not saying that they're Super Bowl bound contenders. No, I don't think so. But I mean, I think your first step is just like the Reds. Let's get back to 500, right? Let's with that extra game, let's try to shoot for 9 wins. And let's just take it from there. See where we're at. If we're in contingency, if the Bengals are in contingency come December, then that's another story. But as long as the Bengals could be in the conversation of postseason talk coming to January, whether they're in or not, it's a positive step into the right direction.
But
We still got to build. I mean, look at the Reds. The Reds were, remember we talked about this in an off show conversation. That remember what the last 5 years the Reds were out of the conversation by July 4th. They're like, you're not talking about postseason by July 4th. You're like, okay, what's next? Let's look into football. Well, now the Reds were conversations coming up to the last week of the baseball season, right?
Yeah.
So the Reds had you talking about postseason up until the end of September.
Right.
And that's that, and not only that, they finished above 500. This is the first time in 5 years? So for me, this was a win out of the Reds season. You regroup, you figure out what you're going to do next year, and then you make a run next year. You try to go a little bit further. You also got to remember that they face, from 60 games to 102 games. You go from 17 to 18 games now, or 16 to 17 games. Anyways, Cincinnati over in Detroit next week. And before we're about to get into some WWE talk, everyone's been patient, so I appreciate you sticking around. Before we do that, I want to go ahead and just give a quick shout out to a couple of people or equipments that's been running our programs here. Thanks to StreamYard, who's been giving us the proper studio to put up these podcasts night in and night out for the pure entertainment of you guys. So go to StreamYard.com if you're looking to start your own podcast, your own talk show, whatever you like to do. Everything you could be fine. It's a simple studio production. Allows you to put in comments, everything that you want to know. StreamYard.com for more information. Also, by Placeit. Placeit is giving us our logo up there in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Our logos you see on YouTube, Facebook, okay? Yeah, I can't point up there, whatever way. It's over there off the screen. Anyways, Placeit does our logos, our intro, outro videos here. Placeit.com. He does t-shirts, mugs, and so much more for logos and catchphrases. And now by Epidemic Sound, something that you guys saw earlier is our Epidemic Sound licenses all of our music here. As you can see, this is all the music that we're playing in the background. As you can hear for us, they license all of my music so we could hear, you guys could hear something throughout the dead end. So Epidemic Sound is the way to go. Epidemic.com. Hey, listen, we're in October, Trey, which means WWE teams up with Susan G. Komen and in the breast cancer awareness month, right? Something's been going on for several years, and so Susan G. Komen teams up with WWE and breast cancer awareness. So if you head over to our Facebook page at the J&J Talkshow, follow the page and scroll on down, you could check out and donate to the Susan G. Komen fundraiser that we have posted up there as well. I think I covered that correctly, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Other than that, okay, let's get right into it. Hey, 2021 WWE draft. We briefly talked about it last segment here on the J&J Talk Show. We're get back into wrestling and what's going on week in and week out here in a moment as we get you ready for Crown Jewel. But all right, so listen, really fast on the Raw side of things, Trey. 36 men, 14 women were drafted to Raw. 29 men and 10 women were drafted to SmackDown. And we do see some new guys. I mean, Karrion Kross is not a new guy, but we have I don't know, I'm just kind of scrolling through the list. Well, you have Tegan Nox, Maya Yim, who briefly made her Raw debut back with Retribution. We have Ashante Donis, Isaiah Scott, Top Dollar, and Xia Li. Xia Li, by the way, Xia Li, congratulate to her, Xia Li. Okay, I don't know if you ever heard of that name. She was an NXT female wrestler, but she's the first Chinese female wrestler to hit the WWE roster. So Tony Storm, Shantzi Blackheart, some new guys up in there, kind of like
Yep.
a WrestleMania moment. And I'm cool with that. I like to see the new talent come up and get their debut. I'm just
Right.
worried about these top stars coming into the um, like a guy like Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland, great down there in NXT, making a big run. But when you come up, I don't want their careers to be ruined. We've seen so many guys, their career get ruined once they come down to from WWE, right?
Right. Yep. They get lost in the shuffle.
A big one here. One of the tag teams I hated them separating was then they was it Veer and what Shanky?
Yep. Baron Shanky.
No, T Bar and Mace. Well, they did separate Veer and Shanky also, but T Bar and Mace were separated, I believe. Like the toilet paper. We're just looking at the list. Yeah, T Bar and Maze. That was that team. They look like the Ascensions to me. Remember the
Yeah.
Ascensions? They looked
Yep.
like
I
the
do.
Ascensions to me. They were dominant. They weren't with Jinder Mahal. Veer and Shanky was with Jinder Mahal. And that's, that okay. I don't know why they got to separate that. But T Bar and Mace was actually a team I wanted them to stay together.
Yeah. We need as much tag teams, and now they're splitting them up again.
Well, we talked about the tag team division and how much that tag team. I mean, does T Bar and Veer team up with each other? I don't know, but T Bar and Mace I felt like was a good tag team. I mean, we saw them back when we went to Raw on the main event, and they were a very solid tag team.
Yeah.
And they should have been stuck together, in my opinion.
Right.
We see we see Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza move over to SmackDown. Ridge Holland on SmackDown as well. Was there anything that you didn't like out of this 21-21 draft? Any
I
picks that
did.
you didn't like?
I did not like them splitting up the New Day. I keep saying that. I keep saying that. I did not like them splitting up the New Day.
Why?
Why? Because the New Day's been the constant tag team the last couple years, and then they split up Big E and left them on SmackDown, and New Day
Right.
went to Raw.
Well, we knew at one point in life that they were going to eventually be split up because you're holding one person behind in a tag team event when you have three people together.
But
And so I understand why they split them up. They put Kofi with Xavier Woods to help Xavier Woods out, and I feel like it's working. Now, I mean, we knew why they came to. Whenever everyone thought that Big E, when he went back to Raw to win the title, that they were going to be reunited. Now, unless you're ready for a triple threat match between all three of them, and you're ready for them to split officially, right? Then that's when I see them reuniting once more. But I say let's keep them separate because now you have the power of positivity both on Raw and on SmackDown. And Raw needed a big push, and Big E is a really big push, heading them right into that direction. So, the one thing I didn't like about the WWE draft was I didn't like how Becky and Charlotte just switched places this one. I really just wish that Charlotte could have stayed on Raw and Becky should have stayed on SmackDown. That would have been fine. I guess the thing is with Becky, the reason why you have her on Raw is because you have Roman Reigns on SmackDown, and that's just too much power to the top of the line. You need to spread that out, especially with how Raw has been getting hit hard by USA Network and everything that's been coming out. Rumors have been coming out with USA Network not pleased with WWE and are wanting to pull WWE from their weekly show. I really want to. I feel like you have to make that push over on Raw. The one thing I didn't quite get and it frustrated me, was the people that were claiming to be up on the injury block for a couple of months, right? Written off of the
Hmm.
show for a couple of months to be back on to be drafted. And we talk about people like and main guys like Alexa Bliss, right? Who lost
Yeah.
at SummerSlam. Nia Jax, who's been out, who's apparently was supposed to have surgery on her elbow or wrist or whatever. Um, there was a couple of people that were supposed to be written off. I mean, we haven't seen Rey Mysterio supposed to be hurt. Who don't know what his possibility is down the road. The Miz, who's been on Dancing with the Stars, we don't know when he's returning. You
Right.
know, so there's just a lot of guys on this roster that's been drafted, and yet again, there's people that haven't been drafted that probably should have been drafted.
Another thing is like the WWE draft is supposed to be the draft. If they draft the superstars, they need to be on that show, not wait 3 weeks for the draft to kick in effect. To me, that they dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that there. The WWE has definitely dropped a huge ball. They dropped it in two factors here. One of the factors was they treated this like it was the first ever brand split from them. That
Hmm.
was like they've had everything combined for the last couple years, and that's not the case. I really wish that there would have been Raw versus SmackDown matches, and that's how you incorporated cross branding. Now, I mean, okay, I don't agree with how the WWE is not allowing this to the draft to be upheld until after Crown Jewel, but I understand it though. You're trying to put together I mean, this is how you mix them together. You're trying to put them in. You're trying to make Crown Jewel a really big promotion for Saudi Arabia and for other reasons that is just too much time, and we don't have enough time on air to do this to explain it. But you have now you're sitting here and I understand it. Okay, if this was another circumstance, that this was everything that this brand's combining is going to get split by Crown Jewel, right? Conclusion wise. But if
Yeah.
you look at the match card, though, which we'll get into, they're keeping a lot of that stuff still separate from each other. I mean, Goldberg and Bobby Lashley is still on Raw, so they're keeping those segments on Raw. Yes, Seth Rollins and Edge is going to SmackDown or going to Raw, but they're keeping their final segments on Raw. I mean, you have the WWE Championship, right? That Roman Reigns is on. Roman Reigns is Brock Lesnar is on SmackDown. So there's really no. They're not really having a whole lot of combinations other than Bianca Belair being the only person out of Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks that's going over to Raw. So there's really not
Right.
a whole lot of mix. But yeah, maybe they should have had this like right now, closer to time. But I understand. I mean, so much. I mean, you got to. I didn't realize how close this was. But you think about it. It's not this week, but it's next Thursday that WWE Crown Jewel is, and then the
Yep.
draft is supposed to be upheld by that Friday.
Yeah. And the
So my
thing
question.
is what?
Go
What's
ahead.
your
No, go
question?
ahead. No, go ahead.
So, so the draft just happened last week,
Yeah.
and you know they're having the new draftees still come to that show. Like Jeff Hardy is supposed to be on Raw right now
Uh huh.
until after Crown Jewel, but yet
Uh huh.
he's still showing up on SmackDown. So is Drew McIntyre.
Right.
Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch is
Well,
showing up on Raw.
yeah, I think you allow this time, these next weeks, right, that comes by. You allow that to happen because, like I said, one Crown Jewel comes up next Thursday, right, which is the ultimate. But now you want to start putting on. You're desperate to putting on good shows, good entertaining shows. So I think it's important that if you are, that you have the cross brand right now for the next few weeks, as long as they're putting on shows and matches that it's entertaining to watch, then allow it to happen. But come the 22nd of October, then you got to be precautious and say, okay, now you're belonging on SmackDown. But
Right.
this also, I think, this is a design for you to sit here and be like, okay, well, can Jeff Hardy have a better match on Raw right now for the Raw ratings than SmackDown? So them going on SmackDown, I think this is just, and then it's also a start building other storylines. I mean, you got to remember Dominic and Rey Mysterio is getting drafted to Raw. Well, they're not familiarized, with some of these tag teams. Well, let me rephrase that, because the entire SmackDown tag team division seems like went over to Raw.
Right.
The Street Profits, you got Gable, you have the dog, what is it? The Dirty Dogs, right?
Dirty Dogs. Ray and Dominic went to Raw.
Right. Oh, you got Austin Theory. You got coming up to Raw. Street Profits, I think I've already said.
And speaking of
Gable and
Jeff,
Otis. Go ahead.
and speaking of Jeff Hardy, maybe this draft will benefit him because lately he's been not doing too good, and maybe SmackDown getting drafted to SmackDown, maybe we will see a different side of him.
But he was already on SmackDown. He was on SmackDown before. One thing that I think questions me, I would like to be answered, is that I think they've been talking about. There's been rumors going around the last probably like 2 years. Jeff Hardy, with all of the stuff that he's been getting in trouble outside the ring, and the physicality that's starting to take a toll on him inside the ring, right? How
Yeah.
much time does he have left? And I heard there was rumors that was if he was out the door here soon. What is his contract, or what holds for his contract? Not for his contract. Does he make a final run? And you look at the roster, on the SmackDown roster, and who do you really? And let's say this is true. You take a look at the SmackDown roster. Who can he run with for a couple months? I mean, Roman Reigns. You really see Jeff Hardy and Roman Reigns, or maybe Drew McIntyre. I mean, possibly Kofi Kingston, but I mean, other than that, I mean, Jeff Hardy
What's he
and
got? I mean, maybe
who?
he goes after
Nakamura,
Intercontinental Championship.
and then have another Sheamus match.
Yeah.
Or I would love to see Sheamus and Cesaro now go after each other. That
Yeah.
was an unresolved rivalry on Raw back when they were first drafted in 2016. I remember I think they had a best out of 5 series. They ended up getting tagged together, and that's how the bar was created.
And why didn't WWE draft AJ Styles and Omos? Split them up.
Well, because you're not having them feud against each other yet. We talked about this. If you're going to split Omos and AJ up, which I think it should be done sooner than later, because I don't know how much more you can run off of Omos.
Right.
But if you're going to split them up, you don't split them up. You need to have them compete against each other, right? Which we predicted Crown Jewel. Obviously, that's not happening. As a matter of fact, they're going after the Raw tag titles once again. It doesn't make sense to have RK Bro and Omos and AJ on Raw. But here's my thing. You first of all, if you're going to do that, but look at AJ. You know what I would love to see? Because this is what now excites me a little bit. I want to see Apollo Crews and Commando Aziz team up and go against Omos. Commando Aziz versus Omos in a one-on-one fight. I don't think neither of these guys could compete in the ring.
Right.
Maybe Aziz, but I mean, other than that, Omos cannot compete without other athletes that can know what they're doing.
Right.
But I mean, it sets up for opportunities like that. But it also sets up Apollo. I mean, I really think that this is an opportunity for Raw to take advantage, to become that flagship show once more. And SmackDown now, you could really focus in on some of these guys, like how Rich Holland was. He's a dominant guy. I don't know how much you watched him on NXT, but he came up with I think he came up with not Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne. He came up with Pete Dunne, and he's a dominant beast. I mean, the other guy I think he could go after Roman Reigns. It's Rich Holland. I think Justin will tell you the same exact thing too. What else? So let me ask you this here really fast as we wrap up the WWE draft. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn stays on SmackDown. I don't know what after the Dominic series and the rivalry he's had with him, what he's going to go after, because there's no Kevin Owens there. He could go after, maybe he could go after, Nakamura. But for me, it's their contract's winding up. From my understanding, their contract's ending at the end of the year. Okay, they just drafted Kevin Owens to Raw. Do you see them pushing Kevin Owens a little bit more before his contract ends up?
I don't think so. I think he'll end up. So typically, when your contract starts going up, we see superstars as if like Daniel Bryan. What did he do before he left? He put over superstars before he
But
left.
Kevin Owens has been doing that for like the last year though.
Now I think he's gonna continue to do that, get buried, then leave.
Or let me ask you this, because I mean, we saw that out of Daniel Bryan's, and that's one thing. But then we remember when Dean Ambrose left, when he was on the verge of leaving, he was getting a push.
Yeah.
On Raw. And it was supposed to be a reunion for the Shield that really didn't turn much into a reunion. But he was winning matches at the end of his time.
Right.
So, I mean, you really don't know. I mean, what happens? Okay, let's say WWE sits here and say, hey, listen, I don't want to lose Kevin Owens. For the next 3 or 2.5, 8, 10 weeks, right? I'm going to make his world run wild through maybe title reign matches, TLC matches, right? Maybe he goes up and faces Big E in a TLC match. I mean, Kevin Owens loves the Extreme Rules matches. It looks like he has a blast each and every time. He encourages them. So, right. I mean, he could go up against guys like Big E and Randy Orton and Lashley. And I could see him, hold himself to
it. I would love to see that, but I don't see that. You've been seeing how he's been getting treated on SmackDown and Raw lately. I see him just going on a losing streak and eventually leave.
That's a bummer. I would not. I mean, after losing so many people, I mean, they're already rejecting Braun Strowman's offer to come back. Bray Wyatt's not in the picture. They lost so many people over this last year. I mean, you think that if the WWE is heading into a direction like this, is a perfect opportunity for WWE. You have the draft. This is an opportunity for you to take advantage of this draft and now rebuild yourself. And one of the guys you got to keep a little longer is Kevin Owens, because he puts money in. He puts people in seats.
Mm-hmm.
And he has phenomenal matches doing so. I felt like they underutilized him with Happy Corbin. But, I mean, I can see him go up against... Okay, so if you're talking about putting over, Kevin Owens is a perfect guy to go up against with Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
And put Kross over. I mean, we talked about how desperate Kross is needing to be put over.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see over time. But WWE, this draft does not become official until October 22nd, which is not this Friday, but next Friday, on an episode of SmackDown, talking about that, because Crown Jewel is coming up here in less than 2 weeks. It's going to be on October 21st, 2021, available on Peacock. And we talk about matches and stuff like that. That's going to be in Saudi Arabia. My understanding is that this was supposed to be the start of the European tour that the WWE does every year. That's still up in the air. So my question is if the WWE has to return, right, back to the United States for a SmackDown on a Friday, and if the WWE can prevent anything like that happened last time where they got stuck there for days, right? And they had a terrible SmackDown afterwards because of it. Do you see WWE taking the caution signs by taping earlier in the week SmackDown so that they don't have to worry about coming home live 24 hours before, later? With everything that happened the last time they went out there.
See, I could see them doing that, but I also could not see that because before they were being taped at the heck is it called, the Thunderdome. They didn't have audiences, and they could do that. Now they actually have audiences, so I don't see them doing that. I don't know how they're gonna pull that off, but we'll see.
So I mean, they pulled that off though before.
Yeah.
Remember, SmackDown used to be on Tuesdays, taped for Fridays, and people would take pictures and post pictures up and stuff like that. Words would get around. I mean, that's just what happens. But, okay, so then in that case, do you say, okay, we're going to have a live Tuesday episode of SmackDown next Tuesday before we go to Saudi Arabia, and then you ain't going to see us again for another week and a half?
Right.
But I mean, in that case, you can't move forward from. I mean, if you're gonna tape something for Friday, at least you could kind of move forward from Crown Jewel. But I think Tuesday's safe for traveling. I think. I don't know. Anyways, okay, let's we're gonna briefly talk about some of the cards into this. I know let's just get that out there and mention that the WWE Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar is getting intensified, which is great to see. Goldberg and Bobby Lashley will settle the score in a no-holds-barred match over there, right? In Crown Jewel, which is going to be fun to watch as well. I just don't know what type of Goldberg are you going to see. And it wouldn't be a shock. It wouldn't be a shock, but it would be clumsy. It would be stupid. I say stupid to see Goldberg, have a squash match with Bobby Lashley. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have a squash match. So, with that being said, and then you got the SmackDown triple threat match, which is great. And this is actually very interesting because you're going to have now not only one, but two women matches at Crown Jewel, which is something that's very... listen, we're moving in the right direction, right, with Crown Jewel. You're getting women to be participating, right?
Yep.
So, for me, Monday Night Raw, Bobby Lashley and Goldberg, is a much bigger show match than the Big E and Drew McIntyre. I feel like Big E and Drew McIntyre is a fill-in title match because Drew's going to SmackDown just to add another match card.
Yeah.
And I can see a guy like, someone interfering maybe.
Yeah, I do agree. Maybe a Finn Balor?
Could be. But why would... I don't know. Well, Finn Balor's on Raw. He's moving to Raw.
Right.
So why? Unless
Big E versus Finn Balor?
Yeah. Could be. But, I wish they had more interference in play, but they don't have interference as much anymore. RK Bro versus AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag titles. So those are your main matches. And then we have about 4 non-main matches. See, so I love the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns match. I do. I love it. I want to see it. Okay, especially how now you got Paul Heyman involved. and Paul Heyman's in the middle of it. And now he's in a catch 22 because he's good friends with Brock Lesnar, and he's a he's a intern for Roman Reigns. Let's put it that better words.
Right.
Intern for Roman Reigns. So for me, let me ask you this. Would you rather see that match, or would you rather see the Hell in a Cell match?
See, that's hard. It's like
before you answer,
they,
before you answer that question, because let's fill in some content. Because if anyone who watched SmackDown on Friday night, Edge comes out. Right? Was it last Friday night where he challenges him? Answers because Seth Rollins wanted a response to a match at Crown Jewel because he refused to retire, and Edge not only accepted the match, he made it a Hell in a Cell match. So which one? First question here: Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, or Edge versus Sami Zayn, or Edge versus Seth Rollins?
See, it's very hard to choose because they both had tied you into it. So you see Edge and Seth. Seth was just he busted into Edge's house. That makes you like glued to that match. Then again, you go over to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. You have the question is, do you see Paul Heyman costing Roman Reigns the match, or do you see him making Brock Lesnar lose?
Right.
So I don't know if I could choose a match that I would rather see.
Right. One thing I wanted to bring up here, one thing I really enjoyed about this rivalry, and I'm gonna choose straight out, and people are gonna maybe be biased against this, but I see the Edge and Seth Rollins more, and the reason why I say that is because it's gotten personal. See, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar is always going to have a great fight. They are. They're going to always have a great match whatever stipulation you put in the way. And I think it's great to start implementing Paul Heyman into the mix of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. We knew that was going to happen. We knew back when Paul Heyman became the advocate for Brock Lesnar that was going to happen at some time. But now you start looking at how things go, right? But now, we've been talking about this on and off throughout our talk shows throughout the week, right? Seth Rollins and Edge, and how we love to continue to see this rivalry unfold. But there was, and now we're finally seeing it unfold in a desperate way where we wanted to see a stipulation. We told you for this match that this storyline was going to continue, it had to get personal. Mm-hmm. Now, it reminds you of the whole Randy Orton and Triple H, right? So, for me, I really don't want this rivalry to end just at a Crown Jewel. And knowing that they're both on Raw now, I can see this continuing. But will WWE continue? I mean, so look, you got Survivor Series next month. You should have TLC in December. Right? TLC for me is the way to end things in this rivalry.
Yeah.
Because I could see a TLC match between one or the other. And this is the homeland of this is everything that Edge is about is a TLC match. Right? So you don't necessarily. So what you could see is that now you could see them if they do the Raw versus SmackDown elimination match like they normally do every year. You can see Edge and Seth Rollins team up. Can you? And part of the 5. Maybe Seth Rollins goes against Edge. Like remember when I want to say Dolph Ziggler? No, not Dolph Ziggler. The Miz went against Team Raw.
Yeah.
When they had to face the Nexus, right? I believe.
Yeah. See, I was kind of thinking something else.
What do you
I was
think?
kind of thinking something else for Survivor Series, which that's the next
Yeah.
pay per view.
Okay.
So
What were
Seth
you thinking?
Rollins has been kind of putting Beth Phoenix into this situation, talking about the kids. Maybe this is the time to have a tag team match.
I know you
But
want to see it. I want to see it too. But see,
how are they
Becky
going
Lynch.
to,
How do you
like you were
one? How
about
do
to
you
say?
implement? One, how do you implement Becky Lynch into this?
Exactly, and that's
And two, didn't Seth already come out and say that they will never again mix Seth's career and Becky's career because they're in two separate paths?
yeah.
I heard that. I heard something. Seth Rollins came out, I think, even on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast show that he had on the Peacock after Extreme Rules, right? He went
Hmm.
out there and he stated that he will not put Seth Rollins will not and Becky Lynch will not team up. Ever since they teamed up in that mixed match challenge a couple years ago, they won't do that again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would love to see a way that Beth Phoenix could be. But yet again, now that means you have to take her out of NXT because she's commentating for NXT.
And maybe they do a Beth Phoenix special referee stipulation.
Or maybe Beth Phoenix versus Seth Rollins.
Now, my question
I
to
mean,
you is, you could say what you're going to say.
no, go ahead.
Oh, you keep talking about a TLC match with Edge and Seth Rollins. My
Mm-hmm.
question is if you're going to climb up the ladder, what's going to be at the top? What them trying to fight over? Edge's career, maybe?
Career match. Yeah, that could be
Because you
it,
can't
right?
have, yeah, you can't have a ladder match without something being up there to get.
And I know we're getting into left field here, but there's this the idea of a TLC match. I feel like that's the perfect way to end this career, right? Well, not in his career, but in this storyline is a TLC match. I mean, maybe somewhere down the line, Seth Rollins becomes champion and beats Big E, right, and goes after the or beats Big E. What about just on a hypothesis note, right? Edge went beat Seth Rollins, goes on and beats Big E to become the new WWE champion, faces Roman Reigns on a one-on-one match that everyone wants to see. No countouts, no delays or anything like that, right? Seth Rollins versus Edge for the WWE title. Beth Phoenix tries to get involved, but ends up costing Edge the title.
Right.
I mean, I know it's just a hypothesis on this. I mean, it's an it's a mute conversation here, but I mean, it's something worth about talking about, though. I mean, it's something that's definitely interesting to persuade. I love to see it. I don't want it to end at Crown Jewel. I want it to see it continue. But what else can you do to continue this?
Right.
All right, we're coming up on the end. We got three more things to talk about. Quick understanding. No holds bar match. Goldberg, Bobby Lashley. What do you think?
I see Goldberg winning this to get his
Does his son get involved? Because you got the Hurt Business.
see I think something will happen because of the Hurt Business. I don't see Goldberg being able to handle all three of them.
Mm.
Maybe his
Or
son comes after.
maybe the Hurt Business gets involved and ends up distracting Bobby Lashley. Now getting the Hurt Business to unfold in each other.
The question is, where does the Hurt Business go from after this match?
I think it's just time to start going after each other.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Bobby Lashley has a title. It's not like he's going to go after the title anytime soon. It doesn't look like. I mean, he has this unfinished business. And then it's like, okay, well, what's next for Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander? Can they really defeat? Maybe they go after the Raw. Maybe they go after the Raw tag titles.
Yeah. The question is, what does Bobby Lashley do?
Maybe this is a time to Bobby, since MVP is written off script. Maybe this is the time for him to get out of action, right? Out of the physical action, maybe be a manager to us, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander,
Maybe.
right? Kind of a screen off away from screen type thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so really fast. Well, before we wrap up this segment here today, it's been a long segment. Appreciate everyone being patient. Hopefully, everyone's enjoyed it so far. We got to talk about the queen
Yes.
and the king of the ring tournament here. The queen of the ring tournament bracket here. On SmackDown side, Zelina Vega defeated Toni Storm, and Carmella defeated Liv Morgan for coming up this Friday on SmackDown. Zelina versus Carmella, and the winner will face the Raw bracket winner. And that Raw bracket is Doudrop versus Natalia, Shayna Baszler versus Dana Brooke. Who do you think's going, and how do you think it's going to conclude?
Um, my opinion is it will be down to Doudrop, Shayna Baszler, because if you watched last Monday, Shayna Baszler tried to attack Dana Brooke, and Doudrop came out. And of course, Shayna Baszler attacked her, but didn't do anything to her.
Okay. What about SmackDown
So
side?
what is it? SmackDown side. So it's Toni Storm. Oh no, it's
No,
Lena Vega
Zelina
and
Vega
Carmella.
versus
So I'm hoping that they gives Lena the victory.
I really think you got to think about this here. It's a women's match in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
They have to be cautious as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Carmella fits the bill to represent SmackDown for the Queen of the Ring tournament. I think Carmella comes across in this one. Now, coming over to Raw, though, I would love to see Doudrop and represent. But is she getting enough hype across in Saudi Arabia? See, I think Saudi Arabia has a little say of who's competing, too. I also think Natalia, because these are huge monumental achievements, and Natalia's already established herself in the industry. I don't think she's competed yet. Or let me ask you this: Naomi went to Raw. Is there a way that she fits herself in this picture?
Do I what?
Let me ask you this: Naomi, right? She just got drafted to Raw. Is there a way she could find herself in this picture and replacing one of these four women tomorrow night? She's been sitting here demanding a match, right? No,
Naomi's on SmackDown.
She just got drafted to Raw. No.
She's feuding with Sonya Deville on SmackDown.
Okay. Do you see her getting herself in? Just point blank, period. Do you see Naomi getting herself? See, there's nothing. She's been fighting with Sonya Deville all this time. If someone on the Raw side of things, right, whether it's Doudrop, Natalia, Shayna Baszler, Dana Brooke, if one of them gets hurt prior to the match, can Naomi fill in? Or even if Zelina Vega or Carmella gets hurt, can this be a way that Naomi gets herself into this tournament and gets herself in Saudi Arabia?
I think so, because she's a babyface and they normally don't do heel versus heel.
I mean, unless it's Carmella versus Doudrop, that's the only thing I'm thinking of is Carmella versus Doudrop or Natalia versus Carmella, and that's the only two people I think about.
True.
But unless one of those is happening, which I can't see Doudrop versus Carmella, this is perfect for Naomi.
Yeah.
This is a perfect opportunity for Naomi to get herself. I mean, she's been battling against Sonya Deville for a long time. Great. This is a perfect way to get herself into. I don't know. Maybe this could or couldn't happen.
Maybe.
Last but not least, and let's get right down into it. The King of the Ring tournament. We already saw this, right? Sami Zayn beat Rey Mysterio. Finn Balor beat Cesaro on SmackDown last Friday.
Hmm.
Kofi Kingston coming up tomorrow on Raw. Kofi Kingston and Jinder Mahal, and then Xavier Woods versus Ricochet. Two good matches. I think these are great bookings. I mean, especially for Xavier Woods getting a promotion to get pushed with Ricochet. Um, who do you? I mean, okay, Kofi Kingston versus Ricochet? Maybe
I see. I see that happening. Kofi Kingston versus
because that would
Ricochet.
be a great Monday Night Raw match.
You know what
You're talking
would
about
also be great? Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods.
yeah, but I don't think
I don't see it.
I don't want to see it. Let me put it that way. I could see it happening. I just don't want to see it happening. I mean, this would be a match that would be a friendly competition. Let the best man win. I would even say, okay, if that's the case, then Xavier Woods gets put over.
Yeah.
I think so. And then they will face probably Finn Balor. But I could see Ricochet or Kofi Kingston face Finn Balor. In this case, I see Ricochet because you got to remember, New Day's already going to be there because of Big E.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm going for. I really just want to see a good match. Ricochet and Finn Balor. These are two guys that haven't gotten a push in the last couple of weeks. Each time they try to get something going, they get taken away from them. Right, the momentum gets taken away for some reason, whether it's injury, whether it's another storyline that gets involved. So something that's really not. Really needs to be reconsidered, right? So I really think Ricochet, Finn Balor, both of them, there's a good opportunity. Well, both of them are on Raw, right?
Yeah.
I know, yeah. So this could lead into a feud between them two, right? I mean, I would love to see a feud between Finn Balor and Ricochet. This is reminds me of the old days,
Right.
right? So, I mean, do you have the same thing? Do you have a different answer?
No, I don't. My question to you is who's winning? Who's winning the whole thing?
All right, I see Ricochet and Finn Balor, and I see Finn Balor walking away.
I
On the women's side,
I see one of the two.
Yeah, Ricochet and Finn Balor.
Hmm.
Yeah, it should make sense for me. I mean, I guess you could put Jinder Mahal in there, but I don't want to see Jinder Mahal versus Ricochet or Xavier Woods. I'd rather see Kofi Kingston compete against Ricochet or Xavier Woods.
And on the other side, who's picking up the queen?
Queen, I really think Dewdrop versus Carmella. My opinion.
I'm picking Queen Shayna Baszler.
Well, remember she was the Queen of Spades.
Exactly.
Back down to NXT, the Queen of Spades there. What about Queen Carmella? But wasn't there a Queen of the Ring? No, this is the first ever Queen of the Ring, huh?
Yep, first ever.
I mean, aren't they naming her Queen Carmella? Just imagine if Queen Carmella. Can you think of that? Think of that for a moment.
I can't. It's gonna be mind
just
blowing.
think of go back to SmackDown with that, right? Go back to SmackDown where Carmella's on SmackDown and see how much, or because she's getting drafted to Raw. See what that takes her.
Right.
That's amazing. Anyways, listen, Trey, I appreciate your time for joining us here. Thank you for filling in for Justin. Great episode. I think this became with it. Hopefully Justin comes back by next week, but we'll hopefully get you on. I know there was some trouble there with connecting you, but we got it situated. So thank you again for tuning on. And we will see you next time, Trey. So you have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you for having me on, and you have a great day too. And go Bengals.
That is Trey there. Man, great having him on each and every time. And listen, I appreciate you guys sticking around with us. here on this another segment. Yeah, I know we're taking a little different turns, ups and downs, lefts and rights, instead of talking about wrestling. Like I said, hopefully our wishes go out to our good partner Justin as he's a little underneath the weather for today, can't join us. So hopefully he gets better. He could come join us and tune us in next week. Coming up with our schedule coming up later on this week, you could tune us back in back on Tuesday as we review postseason, some more postseason action in the Major League Baseball standings here. Let me see if I get you a quick update. We're in the top of the 8th inning over in Boston, where the Red Sox are beating the Tampa Bay Rays 4-2. That is on the MLB Network. You could just tune over here in about an hour from now at 8:07 p.m. The Astros and the White Sox will do the battle as the Astros lead 2-0. And then we have coming in tomorrow, like I mentioned, all 4 games are being played, but game 3s of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Atlanta Braves and the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Great games to look out for. All the games are tied currently except for the Astros and the White Sox, so that may be a game you may not see tomorrow, depending how tonight's game turned out. Over there in NFL, quick update here. We have the Bears coming down to the 2-minute warning, beating the Raiders 17-9. The Browns are still beating the Chargers 42-35 with less than 5 minutes to go. The Niners down 7-10 with about a half a quarter left, and then the Giants are down from the Cowboys 34-13. Sunday Night Football this week, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen taking on Patrick Mahomes, wit of a quarterback there over there in Kansas City. And then tune in Monday for Indianapolis Colts and the Baltimore Ravens. That is there on the NFL to you. We got basketball, NBA preseason, Spurs and Magics taking on a couple games headed on later on tonight. We got the Bulls and Cavaliers, the Thunders and Bucks, and the Suns and Lakers late tonight. As that reaches its preseason. Let's see what else is left. We got you in the world of sports. October 12th. Weekend off here. Coming up here, October 12th, which is Tuesday. Some NHL, Penguins and Lightnings, Krakens, and Golden? Oh. Seattle Krakens. Okay. Something completely new to me. I don't follow much NHL here, but Seattle Krakens are taking on the Vegas Golden Knights for NHL Tuesday, October 12th. Like I said, you guys could go ahead and tune us back in on Tuesday morning where we cover you another postseason action. We'll take you and bring you into the studio and cover you what's going on in MLB postseason. Coming up on Thursday is another weekly episode of NFL. NFL Week 6 comes up Thursday. And then on Friday, everything you need to know heading into next weekend and what's going on. You have the AL and NLCS going on. NFL Week 6, college and NCAA rankings, and so much more coming over there. So we thank you for tuning in. Like I said, you can check us out on Spotify at the J&J Talk Show. Check us out on Facebook at the JJ Talk Show and on Facebook at the J&J Talk Show. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave us a comment down below. Thank you once again to our partner, Trey, who's been doing our promotions. You can check him out on TikTok, who's been doing a lot of our sponsors on TikTok at the J&J Talk Show. Until next time, you guys, I hope everyone's had a great weekend, and we will see you guys later.